Hello, everyone. Welcome to the August meeting of the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign. We are so glad to have you all here. Am I getting feedback real quick?
Yes.
Okay. If you're not speaking, just please be on mute so that we can make sure everyone can hear adequately. Thank you. We're glad to have you all here. Before turning on the Zoom interpretation feature, we will start with consecutive interpretation now.
Hola, bienvenidas y bienvenidos a la reunión estatal de agosto de la campaña de la gente pobre. Estamos contentos de tenerlos a todos aquí. Antes de activar la función de interpretación de Zoom, comenzaremos con interpretación consecutiva.
Our meeting is bilingual, Spanish and English. I want to introduce our interpreters, Carla y Marisela. Please come off mute and say hello.
Nuestra reunión es en español e inglés. Quiero presentar a nuestros intérpretes, Carla y Marisela. Por favor, preséntense.
Hi everyone, I'm Marisela. I'll be interpreting today. Hola a todos, soy Marisela y voy a interpretar ciertas partes de la reunión de hoy.
Greetings everyone from Newark, Delaware. I'm also going to interpret from English to Spanish. Muchos saludos a todos desde Newark, Delaware. También voy a ser una de las intérpretes de inglés a español.
Welcome our friends from Delaware even. Now we will make our interpretation announcement, first in English, then Spanish. Listen carefully because there are instructions that everyone will have to follow.
Ahora haremos nuestro anuncio de interpretación, primero en inglés y luego en español. Presten atención, por favor, porque habrán instrucciones para todos.
The Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign understands the strategic importance of and is committed to creating multilingual spaces when possible. We are organizing across all lines of division, including language. To that end, we have interpretation in Spanish, and English. We ask that all participants speak slowly and clearly. Right after this announcement, we will activate the Zoom interpretation feature. Parts of our meeting will be in English and other parts in Spanish, so everyone please be sure to follow these instructions. that I'm about to describe. If you are using Zoom from your computer, you will see a globe icon at the bottom of your screen. Click on the globe and select your preferred language. If you are using Zoom from your phone, click on the 3 dots where it says More, choose Language Interpretation, and then select your preferred language. If you have any problems doing this, please comment in the chat so that one of our members can assist you. Thanks.
La campaña de la gente pobre de Wisconsin entiende la importancia estratégica y tiene la firme determinación de crear un espacio multilingüe y de unirnos a través del lenguaje. Con esta finalidad, tenemos interpretación en español e inglés. Les pedimos a todos los participantes que hablen lentamente y de forma clara. A terminar este anuncio, activaremos la función de interpretación del Zoom. Y si usted está usando Zoom en su computadora, podrá ver un icono de un mundo en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. Haga clic en el mundo y seleccione el lenguaje de su preferencia. Si está usando Zoom desde su teléfono, haga clic en los 3 puntitos donde dice More o Más, seleccione Language Interpretation o Interpretación de idiomas y luego su lenguaje. Si tiene algún problema, ponga un comentario en el chat y uno de nuestros miembros le ayudará. Muchas gracias. And we can go ahead and activate the interpretation feature.
Thank you to all of those answering and asking questions.
Gracias a todos por hacer y preguntar.
I will wait just a moment before we get going. Great.
Intérpretes, si pueden decir algo en el lado español para que puedo ver que sí está funcionando, por favor.
Hola.
Hola, es Marisela, solo revisando que todo funciona.
Okay, we're doing good.
Muchas gracias a los intérpretes y al equipo técnico.
Campaign. If this is your first meeting with us, we are so glad you are here and we are eager to get to know you and learn what brought you to the campaign. My name is Kevin Solomon. I'm a coordinating committee member and I will be co-emceeing this event along with my friend and colleague in change, Moses Hernandez McGavin. Soon, you will see the agenda for the night posted in the chat. If that can be linked, I will quickly go through it. We will start with this welcoming, framing, and interpretation announcement. Then we will have an invocation and land recognition by Femi. Then we'll have breakouts, an orientation breakout room, and a consciousness raising breakout room for returning members. Then we will do some singing. This is, after all, a singing campaign. After that, Nicole will help talk about our stories project. Tamara will talk about where we are moving forward with Medicaid actions. We'll do some more singing and chanting. We'll hear from some partner organizations, including Citizens for a Clean Wausau and Expo, Ex-Prisoners Organizing. And we will conclude with a closing and some chants to sing our way out. And with that, we will begin with an invocation and land recognition by Femi. Go ahead, Femi. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. And as Kevin said, we're going to begin today's meeting with a brief invocation. So pull it up quick. You can take this time to pray, to meditate, to reflect, or simply to just ground yourself. And so we start off by acknowledging that we are on land of broken promise and forced removal of a people. You know, we acknowledge that genocide happened, and in many ways it's still happening. Indigenous people are not relics of past. They are here still offering us their talents and stories. This is their land in past, present, and future. So we want to respectfully acknowledge the Bad River Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, Ho Chunk Nation, Lockport O'Reilly's Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, Lac du Flambel Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, Menominee Tribe of Wisconsin, Oneida Nation, Forest County, Potawatomi, Red Cliff Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, St. Croix, Chippewa, Sokaugan, Chippewa, and Stockbridge, Munsee, in addition to other non-federally recognized tribes. They're the ones that have stewarded this land throughout the generations. And so we acknowledge that. Also, we'll put a link in the chat of a suggested tool that I think is really cool, just to see and understand how much this land is the native indigenous people land. From there, I'm going to read a short passage for our invocation of scripture. If you agree with this passage, after its reading, I will give a short pause to invite you to say, basically, may it be with us. So after I read this passage, you'll basically respond, still on mute, may it be with us. So the passage comes from Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, and it says, so let's not allow ourselves to get fatigued doing good. At the right time, we will harvest a good crop if we don't give up or quit. May it be with us. And I'm also going to pray. Thank you, God. You know each of us by name. You know each of our stories. Remind us that you are faithful. Remind us that you are love. And remind us that you created us, calling us good. Help us in a unified effort to participate with you, changing this world for the better. Amen.
Thank you, Femi. We have a full agenda for the next hour or so.
Tenemos una agenda muy apretada durante esta siguiente hora.
A link was shared to that agenda if you'd like to look ahead. But for starters, we are going to go into breakout rooms to share more intimately about the Poor People's Campaign. There are two options for breakout rooms. The first is the orientation room. If you are new to the campaign and want to understand more what the PPC is, or if you are using interpretation, please stay in the main room where you are right now for an orientation to the campaign. So don't join a breakout room, just stay here. For those who are familiar with our history and principles and want to participate in a consciousness raising discussion about our DC delegation's experiences, taking actions for our fundamental rights and being arrested with PPC members from around the country this past week, please join the breakout room. Our tech guru, Nate, will activate the feature and you will see a breakout rooms icon at the bottom of your screen. When the feature is activated, click on it and a window will pop up. It will say Raising Consciousness and we'll have a number on the right. Click on the number and it will say Join. Click and you will be sent to the room. If you have any troubles, please type in the chat. Please, each group also nominate 1 to 2 people to recap your conversations afterward. We would love to hear what it is that you all talk about. And with that, we will activate the feature. So as a quick reminder, if you are new to the campaign, you are staying in this room. And if you want to participate in a discussion about our principles and the experiences of activists with the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign from DC, click join the breakout room. Y gracias a Carla. So before we get started in this room, does everyone in this room want to be in an orientation session? Is everyone in the right place?
I need to go to the breakout. So
I need
sorry.
to go to the breakout, but it doesn't allow me to go in. It just says the host has opened breakout rooms. Please wait to be assigned.
You should be able to click on the breakout room logo on the bottom. And upon doing so, a window will pop up. You can click, it'll say raising consciousness, and then you should be able to click the number on the right, and it will then say join. If that doesn't work like that, then I'm wondering if our tech guru is here and can help assist.
I think that's what's happening. That little join, that little click thing is not there.
Yeah, the breakout room window was flashed on the screen for a minute, but then it disappeared before I had a chance to click.
I'm gonna
Okay,
check Nate and see if we can get some help.
it looks like the breakout rooms are closing. Maybe Nate identified this tech issue.
Just kidding, y'all, sorry. All right, give us 1 minute. Nate, can we help in any way?
They're open again.
It disappeared again. was-
Because I have it on my, if you go on the bottom of the screen and click on breakout rooms. And it's up again, and it should, if you scroll down to where it says raising consciousness and click join next to it.
Okay, I think I might be able to help too. Can you, Nicole, I'm sending you to Raising Consciousness. Okay, Keith, you wanted to go to Raising Consciousness. I'm sending you that way. Anybody else? Just come off mute and tell me your name if you were trying to be in the other.
I
breakout.
was trying to be in the other. This is Libby.
Okay,
I
hi,
don't
Libby.
even, it didn't even pop up. Like I know
Sorry.
somebody said it popped up and disappeared. It didn't even pop up. Oh, there we go.
Okay, bye. Camera, are you trying to go over there too, I'm guessing?
No,
Oh, no, you're staying with us.
no,
here.
I'm staying
Okay.
here.
Okay. All right, and anybody else? We want you here, but also if you're trying to go over there, we will still love you. So just let us know if you would like us to send you off. And yes, Carla, we still are doing interpretation right now, please. Thank you. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started then. And I am going to share my screen. So, welcome everybody. Kevin, I might need some reminders of who's doing which part because I am sharing my screen and I can't see it, but I know I'm kicking us off. So welcome to an orientation. We're so excited that you're joining us for a first meeting of the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign. Well, first, if you would like to, we would love to have people here just go ahead and in our chat, just share your name and where you're joining us from so that we can get to know who is here. Although I don't know if I can see the chat. So please go ahead and just introduce yourself. My name is Sarah. I'm one of the tri-chairs for Wisconsin, and I'm from Milwaukee. There we go. So the first thing that we just want to share about the Poor People's Campaign is that the Poor People's Campaign actually has a deep and rich history. We are reigniting a campaign that was started in 1968 by Martin Luther King, and as well as leaders from the welfare rights movement and from people's struggles all across the country coming together really at the end of King's life, realizing that that there was a need to move from a question of civil rights to economic rights. And there's a quote that we like to share that was kind of share some of the thinking of this time in 1968, which, as I said, we are now picking up the torch from that original campaign. Would anybody be willing to come off mute and read this quote from Martin Luther King? I can't even see you all because I'm screen sharing, so I can't.
I can read.
Thank you.
Yep, starting with the dispossessed.
Yes.
Okay. The dispossessed of this nation, the poor, both white and Negro, live in a cruelly unjust society. They must organize a revolution against the injustice, not against the lives of the persons who are their fellow citizens, but against the structures through which the society is refusing to take means which have been called for and which are at hand to lift the load of poverty. There are millions of poor people in this country who have very little or even nothing to lose. If they can be helped to take action together, they will do so with a freedom and a power that will be a new and unsettling force in our complacent national life.
I can jump in here, Sarah. The Poor People's Campaign today, and by the way, thank you, Vonda. The Poor People's Campaign today has picked up this unfinished work from Alaska to Arkansas, the Bronx to the border. People are coming together to confront the interlocking evils of systemic racism, poverty, ecological devastation, militarism, and the war economy, and the distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism. Launched in 2018, we are now 50 years after the original campaign, representing and trying to stand in solidarity with 140 million poor people in our country, or folks who are near poor. Right now, the campaign is based in 42 states and growing, including here in Wisconsin. So we're gonna watch a video that describes the different things that the campaign fights against and the ways that they're intersecting.
I'm just gonna redo my screen share because I realized I didn't do the thing with the sound. Give me one more sec. There we go.
What happened on Wall Street often doesn't say a thing about what's happening on the real streets of America.
Everybody has a right to live.
The Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, has come up with a series of demands.
I know that you are here for the same reasons we all are here, to put our elected official on notice.
The pain and the discontent is real, and the demands of our movement are moral.
We know what we want to focus on. Our agenda is clear.
We demand an immediate implementation of federal and state living wage laws. We demand the right for all workers to form and join unions. We demand
Sorry, y'all, I just need 1 second. I realized I need to change this to Spanish so that it is accessible to all. So thank you for your patience. We often say that when we are, that even though it takes some time to make sure that we are language accessible, we are moving at the speed of liberation, and that we will take all the time that it needs to do so. So thanks for your patience there.
equal pay for equal work. We demand a guaranteed annual income. We demand fully funded anti-poverty programs that protects the welfare of us all.
We demand the expansion of Medicaid in every state. We want single-payer universal health care, not for some, but for everybody.
We demand an immediate restoration of the Voting Rights Act. We demand an end to racist gerrymandering.
We want early registration of 17 and 18-year-olds. We want registration to vote at age 18. If we can be drafted for war at 18, we ought to be able to vote automatically at 18. Early voting in every state, same-day registration, and the enactment of Election Day as a holiday.
We demand a reversal of state laws that prevent municipalities from raising minimum wage.
We demand an end to mass incarceration and the continuing inequalities of black, brown, and poor white people with the criminal justice system.
We demand the right to vote for the formerly incarcerated. A clear and just immigration system. This includes providing a timely citizenship process that guarantees the right to vote. The First Nation, Native American, and Alaskan Native people retain their tribal recognition as a nation, not a race.
We demand decent housing. We demand relief from crushing household, student, and consumer debt.
We demand equity in education. We demand an end to the resegregation of schools. We demand free tuition at public colleges and universities and an end to profiteering on student debt. Equitable funding for historically black colleges and universities.
We demand the repeal of the 2017 federal tax law. And we demand that the wealthy and corporations pay their fair share.
We demand an end to military aggression and warmongering. We demand a stop to privatization of military budget and any increase in military spending. We demand a ban on assault rifles and a ban on the easy access of firearms. We demand an end to federal programs that send military equipment into local and state communities. We demand that the call to build a wall at the U.S.-Mexico border be ceased.
We demand a ban on fracking, mountaintop removal, coal mining, coal ash ponds, and offshore drilling. We demand a ban on all new pipelines, refineries, and coal, oil, and gas export terminals.
We are demanding that we stop the war on our poor.
Somebody's hurting my brother, somebody's hurting our sisters, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore.
We believe that we can win. We believe that we can win. We believe that everybody has a right to live, to live, to live, to live, to live.
Thank you all. There we go. I'm gonna just go back to this so you can see this. All right, and Kevin, I think you're, oh no, that's not what I meant to do. I'm sorry, y'all. There we go. Kevin, are you picking up here, or should I?
Yeah, I think you're a few slides ahead though.
Oh,
The how we organize is what we're looking for.
oh yeah, I'm sorry, which I think is me.
That's you.
So, sorry, you all. Yeah, so we wanted to share that video because it lets you see and feel kind of the power of this fusion organizing, where we're organizing across all kinds of lines of division, and we also are organizing in a way that, as we say here, that changes the narrative. Part of that narrative is the idea that we have to fight for one thing at a time. You know, we know as people who are impacted by these issues that they're deeply interconnected and share the same roots, and that we can't really deal with anyone without dealing with them collectively, because it's actually about, you know, the priorities of our society. So that's a lot of how we organize in the Poor People's Campaign. We talk about that we build power from the bottom up. So we are building our power through our relationships with each other. And that when we have those relationships with each other and when we are organizing together, we're actually building power, a different kind of power for all of us. I'll just share too that, you know, we kind of mentioned some of these points already, but that we really see the work that we're doing as organizing for the long haul. So we're not building a movement to win one piece of legislation or to, you know, get one person elected, or even to, you know, we know that the kind of change that we're looking for and that our communities that are really suffering need is going to require us to organize in a deep way, where we even sometimes talk about our communities being permanently organized to be able to take on these long-term battles, for us to have a say in the things that are impacting us. And last point is just that we are nonpartisan. We don't endorse candidates. We are politically independent. Sometimes in the campaign, we say that we're nonpartisan, but very political. You know, we understand that actually we do need a voice in these decisions, but that we're building a politically independent force of the poor and dispossessed. I think we're going to keep going, and then maybe we'll do some questions at the end.
That sounds great. The Poor People's Campaign in Wisconsin has taken many shapes and forms in the last 4 to 5 years. The most recent of which is in the last year and a half, we have developed a lot of our internal structures and systems, built a lot of relationships with each other, and started building out our regional organizing capacities, such that now, as you see in these pictures, we were able to host a Medicaid march in Madison, calling out big profiteers in our healthcare industry, have local gardening work in partnership with Vecinos Unidos, a group of folks who are from the south side of Milwaukee who gather together to harvest and to organize. And on the left picture, you'll see that's also from when we were calling out Representative Steele, encouraging him to sign the 3rd Reconstruction Resolution in Congress. If we go to the next slide, just briefly to explain, we have a variety of committees and regions that we're doing work that we've gotten up and running in the last year. Note that we are all volunteer and none of us are paid in doing this. So we're quite proud to have a statewide steering committee that we called the Coordinating Committee, a media and communications team, arts and culture team, labor, and then faith and moral outreach teams that do kind of issue-focused organizing. And then our regional groups, Rock County, Marathon County, Kenosha and Racine, and Milwaukee, are areas in which we have increased strength and do a lot of local emphasis in partnership with some of those listed there, Vecinos Unidos, Northside Rising, Fight for 15, and so many others. And then I think we have just one last slide about how to get involved that Sarah, you can take over.
Yeah, so I'll just share that there's many ways to get involved and that there's no one way to be a member of the Poor People's Campaign. We welcome everybody's different, abilities to put time in and different gifts and talents. But just some things to know is that we do have these monthly statewide meetings. And I think ideally though, when people can really find either a regional group to be a part of or one of the statewide sort of work groups that Kevin mentioned, like media and communications or arts and culture, that then you really have a home where you can kind of really take on some work in the Poor People's Campaign and help build this movement. We also are going to hear tonight about our new testimony collecting project. We won't be silent anymore. And there's always, events and things happening. We'll be talking about some things going on in September, ways to join the campaign. And we will be sharing a link in the chat to fill out a form so that somebody can actually follow up with you and have a conversation to help you kind of find that home and find a way to get involved.
And with that, I think we are going to have the breakout room quickly collapse into here. But are there any initial questions that we might be able to address quickly? Cool. That means we did a phenomenal job, Sarah. Great work.
Anybody be up for giving just like a quick response of like how this was for you when we go back to the room? I think there's going to be a couple minutes for sharing of each breakout room. Would anybody want to say like one or two things that stood out for you about, kind of learning some of this background about the Poor People's Campaign? Any brave souls?
I can do that.
Thank you, Vonda. Does anybody want to share in the small group anything that they would want Vonda to share for our collective group?
We can also encourage folks to put in the chat anything that stood out in the conversation. Maybe the fact that we demand like 600 things to be changed. Great.
Well, I'll just say that we're really grateful for you all to spend your evening getting to know the Poor People's Campaign and being with us tonight. So thank you.
Okay, the breakout room is on their way.
Oh, and I'm going to put the link in the chat now for the that get involved form, so that and it'll come in an email as well, but I'll put it in now in case you would like to, save it in your browser.
How did you all hear about the Poor People's Campaign in Wisconsin? Is anyone willing to share? Anybody? Yeah, please.
I am part of a racial justice cohort and course called Jesus and Justice. And one of my sisters in that cohort, Reverend Stephanie Wilkins, is currently working with Dr. Barber and has been involved in the recent marches in Texas and DC and elsewhere. So I've been interested in her work, kind of following her and praying for her. And she encouraged all of us in the cohort to kind of dip our toe in and find out what Poor People's Campaign is all about. So that's why I'm here tonight.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Vonda.
I was part of the Madison Action a couple of years ago, but during the pandemic, I've lost the Milwaukee group and haven't been able to reconnect because I don't know who's involved from Milwaukee anymore.
Well, hopefully we can follow up with you soon about rebuilding the Milwaukee chapter. Thanks, Rose. Welcome back, everyone. We are super eager. I'm super eager to hear what you got out of your conversations. Because we're running just a few minutes behind schedule.
Vamos un poquito tarde, así que vamos a escuchar solo de una.
Your conversations, or what did you what stood out? What did you get from that conversation? I know at least in the main room, we elected a volunteer, but if anybody in the breakout room wants to go after Vonda, please do.
Before Vonda shares for our group, I just want to remind everybody that to double check, sometimes when you go to a breakout room and then come back, your interpretation language gets deselected. So please take a moment and just double check so that you are ready to hear in either language when that time comes. Thank you.
So Sarah, can you see the globe on yours? Because my interface just changed and I lost a bunch of stuff. Am I still the host? Just a quick interruption, I'm sorry. Am I still
no
the
problem.
host?
Yes, you are.
Okay. My globe went away.
Okay, I think interpretation is, when I checked interpretation, it's still working. But please, anybody do put in the chat if you're having an issue with interpretation or you don't know how to do that, and I can help. Thanks. Okay, Vonda, thanks for sharing for our group.
Yeah, so I'm Vonda Rankin, and this is my first time at a Poor People's Campaign meeting. Good to see all of you. In the main room, we were talking about the history of Poor People's Campaign and the mission. And I was struck by three things. The first being the deep roots that go back historically, built on the foundations of Martin Luther King. I think that is fabulous. And the quote that we were able to hear from him really resonates with me. The second thing was that we're not limited by just one or two issues, but kind of going after all of those at the same time. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the tone of really directly asking for and demanding those things simultaneously, because they're all important and impactful. And finally, I really appreciate that it seems like with this group that there is a faith component to it. I enjoyed the invocation at the start, and I'm thankful for that. So thanks for the welcome.
Thanks so much, Vonda. I know I'm giving you applause on my mute while you were talking there, so thank you. Does anyone from the breakout room, the consciousness raising conversation, want to share?
Keith and Michael, Labor Committee. Hey, PPC Labor Committee. Those two.
Yeah, I'll say a couple things. And there's a lot that was discussed. The culmination of the month-long season of Moral Direct Action in DC, and Bruce related his experience being in DC, going through the process of getting arrested, but it's about standing up for the principles that the Poor People's Campaign holds. And I think in my short summary of this goes to the Bible, the quote from the Bible, Galatians 6:9, about not growing weary in doing well. I mean, this was there was that people organized, went to DC. Unfortunately, the votes that we wanted to happen on the 6th haven't occurred, but it seemed to me from what Bruce said, from his sharing what Reverend Ari said, as well as what Melody shared with us, is that people left motivated, inspired, fulfilled.
Y regresaron muy motivados, muy excitados, y viendo hacia el futuro de trabajar con otros. También reconocemos que necesitamos tener esas relaciones fuertes. Y también demostró el poder como de esa fusión de fe. Estoy un poco triste de que no tuve la oportunidad de ir con ellos, pero estoy viendo hacia el futuro. A ver si a lo mejor el año que viene tengo tiempo para ir y a participar. Aquí hay una lista de todas esas cosas que igual nosotros vimos en el video.
On June 2022. So that's kind of exciting. But, we also talked about building an iceberg, and maybe Keith wants to say more about that or some other things.
Sure. The iceberg represented the all the things that have to happen behind the scenes and under the surface in order to organize. And we talked about all the things that need to be done, writing and knocking doors and calling people and contacting friends and all the organizing process that goes on. We also saw the video of the Washington rally, which was very interesting. I hadn't seen that before. Bruce mentioned that Unite Here, one of the big unions, was a big supporter of the rally. And the demands include, I think I got them all off of the website here: end the filibuster, pass all provisions of the For the People Act, fully restore the 1965 Voting Rights Act, raise the federal minimum wage to $15 per hour, and then also protect immigrants, working immigrants and their rights. So there was also a connection with a long sequence of actions in Texas, and there was a big march to Austin the day before the rally in Washington, D.C. So yeah, there's a lot of activity going on, and I feel like the Poor People's Campaign is doing a good job of making good trouble and keeping these issues in front of politicians and the media. And of course, Poor People's Campaign isn't the only organization doing that. We have lots of allies, and it's good to stay connected with them.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Keith. Thank you both for sharing. In the spirit of that forward momentum, I'm excited to introduce Nicole to talk about our Stories project and ways that you all can be more involved in the activities and actions going on here in our state.
Thank you, Kevin. So glad that everyone is here tonight. So if you were here last at our statewide meeting, we shared a story from Libby in Wausau, because recently we began an initiative called We Won't Be Silent Anymore, and we're collecting our own stories, we're sharing them on YouTube, and we're literally putting them on a map of Wisconsin. So tonight I'm very pleased to say that we will get to hear Abigail's story, as well as learn about her experience of working with a partner to tell it, record it, and share it in this way. Then we'll have a little time with randomly selected partners in breakout rooms to brainstorm our stories. But first, let's go to the map and hear from Abigail. And Abigail will be sharing in Spanish, so if you haven't already, please be sure to click the globe for interpretation. All right, and are we ready to see that map?
Is it time for the map? Sorry, I was setting something up.
Oh, sorry, yes, it's map time. And then Abigail will share hers, we'll go right into Abigail's story. So this is exactly how we hope the project will go. This will be a public map, and then people can click on a pin to hear the story.
And shout out to Nate doing tech. Thank you. It's a tireless job. And then Nate, if you just click on the image of Abigail there up to the left, the top left, the picture of her.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, sure, that'll open up a video. And you can play it.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Abigail, soy líder de Vecinos Unidos.
Oh wait, can we pause the video?
Al lado sur de Milwaukee.
Can you pause it? Sorry.
Yeah.
You just click CC.
Yep.
Yep,
Got it.
yep, and then start it over. There we go. Then it'll have subtitles.
Mi nombre es Abigail, soy líder de Vecinos Unidos y vivo al lado sur de Milwaukee. Yo me considero una persona pobre. Tengo 20 años trabajando en pastelería y repostería. Es un trabajo que me gusta, pero también es un trabajo físico. Paso todo el día de pie Yo creo que mi trabajo vale más de lo que me pagan. Mi salud y bienestar valen más. Tengo un sueldo que no me alcanza. Si no trabajo mínimo 50 horas a la semana, tengo problemas crónicos en mi rodilla. Aún así, tengo que trabajar muchas horas parada, porque si trabajo menos, no me alcanzaría el dinero para mis gastos básicos. Aparte, no tengo aseguranza, no tengo acceso a servicios médicos. No tengo acceso a servicios médicos para mi rodilla. Mi doctor me mandó a unos estudios de MRI, pero es demasiado caro para mí. Y si no trabajo, cuando molesta mi rodilla, no me pagan, así que tengo que aguantar y seguir trabajando. Soy un ser humano, no una máquina. No tengo nada para cuidarme, no aseguranza, ni ahorros, ni plan de retiro. Nosotros, como gente pobre, tenemos que vivir al día. Si tuviera un salario de $15 la hora, trabajaría menos, tal vez 40 horas en vez de 50. Tendría más tiempo con mi familia y me daría tiempo para descansar mi rodilla. Esto no tiene que ver con opiniones políticas, esto tiene que ver con derechos humanos, básicos. Por eso estoy luchando con la campaña de la gente pobre. Somos muchos en situación aguantando más de lo que debe de aguantar. Ya es hora, vamos a luchar por un salario justo para todos. Y me gustaría como invitar a todas las personas que están como en mi situación, yo pienso que somos muchos, para hablar y decir y seguir luchando para mejorar nuestro bienestar para todos. De ánimo y vamos a seguir luchando.
Thank you, Abigail. Gracias, Abigail. And Abigail is here tonight, so we would love it if you would please share with us a little bit about the process of writing and recording that
Así
story.
que ahorita te vamos a dar un tiempo para que puedas compartir un poco sobre lo que compartiste y dijiste.
Abby, ¿quieres salir del mute y compartir?
Sí.
Ahí está, perfecto.
¿Ya es hora?
Sí.
Gracias.
So thank you. My name is Abigail Picasso, and I'm a leader with Vecinos Unidos United Neighbors. I live in the south side of Milwaukee, and I consider myself a poor person. I have 20 years working in bakery.
Abby, ¿quieres compartir un poco de cómo te fue el proceso de hacer la...
Abby, do you want to share a little bit more about what the process was like?
Como escucharon, como hiciste súper bonito el video. Si quieres compartir con...
You just want to share a little bit more about what the process was
Como
like,
el proceso de pensar en tu testimonio y compartir
what
tu
thinking through your
historia.
testimony was like, and what sharing your story was like. Okay, yeah. I'm a leader with United Neighbors, and to make this video, I spoke with Sarah, and we talked a little bit about what the video was going to be like. Since I don't have a lot of time in our group, she helped me film the video. And she really hyped me up so that I would do it. She talked about how there's a lot of people, and she wants to encourage others to share their stories. Because my situation is one that is shared by a lot of people who may not feel like sharing, but we have to share, we have to get together, and we have to fight for a better future for our children and for everyone. We as poor people don't have insurance, so sometimes it feels like you can't even get sick because everything is so expensive. Too expensive to go to the doctor. And it's almost like a luxury. So if you give yourself the luxury of going to the doctor, then you can't feed yourself or meet your basic needs. So thank you to Sarah who helped me film this video so that I could share with everyone and so that we can all keep fighting. Thank you.
Thank you. Gracias, Abigail. What makes a really moving story like yours is that it is authentic testimony, and it's also brief, focused, and impactful. So most importantly, it's about the plight, the fight, and the insight. That's what the PPC describes a testimony as. So we're running a little behind on time, so I just want to check with our coordinators. We're hoping to do a brief group exercise and pair up in breakout rooms to just discuss, to meet another member of the campaign and discuss your own story. If you'd like to exchange contact information, you may do that if you feel comfortable, because we hope that everyone after this will be inspired to meet.
Y si quieres puedes compartir esa información de contacto para después del evento
su propio video.
se puedan seguir.
Partners should get. What do you think?
Yep, if Nate's ready with the breakouts, let's go ahead. And I just want to also make an announcement for interpreters.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being willing to engage in this experiment. We
Para
hope
este experimento, esperamos que fue productivo e interesante. Nos gustaría
kit that we've prepared to help you participate in this project going forward. I can put that in the chat. I didn't have much time to get into the details of the project. So if you go to that link, you'll find everything you need. You can read about what it is, why we're doing it, and how you can do it. How you can collect your own stories. There are also ideas for connecting with others and next steps, as well as all the links that we've talked about tonight. The tip sheet, a very important release form to submit with every story that you record so it can be shared on YouTube and the map, and a wonderful recording from the national campaign about sharing our testimonies. So I'm sure there are many questions because this was a whirlwind experiment tonight. Please feel free to reach out to me or any member of the coordinating committee for this project. And thank you so much for your time. And now I'm going to pass it to Moses.
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you so much, Nicole, for leading us through that. Just a quick intro. My name is Moses. As Kevin said, I will kind of be helping co-MC tonight. And so we're going to move to our next section of tonight's agenda. And so obviously we are really excited to look at where we're growing, and the Stories project that you all kind of just saw and participated in is really a key component, but we also have some new exciting updates that we want to tell you all about. So to share a little bit more about how the Wisconsin PPC is fighting for freedom this fall, I'm going to pass it over to my friend Tamara.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again for being here with us. So if you had not joined us last year, some of you may have remembered that the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign, we joined the Nonviolent Medicaid Army. And if you don't know what that is, the Nonviolent Medicaid Army is a growing force of the poor and dispossessed, united across identities, regions, races, and issues, modeled after King's Nonviolent Army of the Poor from the Poor People's Campaign of 1968. The NVMA represents all of us who are on or excluded from Medicaid, organizing for a system that makes health and access to healthcare a human right for all. It sounds very logical, but apparently it's going to take a while for that to happen for all of us. So this march happened last year in coordination with other organizations all across the country. And so to keep that momentum going, this year, we're going to also participate in a week of action. And what I want to do though is share a video if we still have time, just to give you a little insight about what we did do last year, because this year is going to look a little different. So Nate, if you could help get that video going, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so this is the healthcare as a human right one, right?
Yep.
Amidst the coronavirus pandemic, hundreds are calling for healthcare solutions at the state capitol today. Adam Duxter explains why they say the pandemic has only furthered unequal access to healthcare.
Those behind today's event say their mission is to make sure everyone has access to equal health care regardless of their background. They're calling on state leaders
que todos tengan acceso
music
a aseguranza de salud, hubo música.
in Madison today, joining a part of a larger cause.
So there have been actions in Pennsylvania, Vermont.
Uniéndose a la causa, hubieron eventos en Pensilvania, Carolina, California.
Healthcare system.
Clearly this pandemic is showing
Claramente esta pandemia está demostrando que hay un esquema en donde el seguro de salud no está trabajando para la mayoría de las personas en este país. Los organizadores están diciendo que mucha gente no tiene dinero para poder pagar una aseguranza. El coronavirus ha hecho que muchas personas hayan perdido sus trabajos.
The thrust of
Y el sistema que tenemos
programs is to minimize the dollar spent on people. So what I see in the nursing home is I see people's treatments, people's physical therapy and rehab cut short.
muchos de los tratamientos, muchas de las medicaciones, muchas de las cosas que necesitan las personas a veces son cortadas.
Healthcare companies have profited off of the coronavirus.
Están argumentando que muchas de las compañías de seguros de salud están haciendo dinero de la pandemia. Si nos unimos todos juntos, podemos tener cambio.
Drivers of today's message, those in
El
charge
coronavirus fue el tema principal de esa acción, pero no es todo de lo que se habló.
Adam Duxter, News 3 Now.
Today's event was organized by the
El evento de hoy fue organizado por la campaña de la gente pobre de Wisconsin y 18 otras organizaciones en el estado. Gracias a Bruce y Natalia.
With our campaign for that, for those interviews and just awesome interviews. So this year, instead of one big march, we're planning on doing a week of action around September. Well, the week of action is September 13th through the 22nd. And so instead, like I said, instead of doing that one march in one location, we're planning smaller events and actions in different locations throughout Wisconsin. We came up with we really want to do family-friendly public sidewalk chalking events. And so what that's going to look like is just setting up in very public locations in the different communities, and we'll have outreach materials and colorful chalk, and we want to invite people to do pictures, do words, do stories, and just basically share with community there and our villages that we have is what it looks like. What would healthcare look like to you if it was a human right? What if it was if it was available regardless of race, income, gender, where you live? Like, what would it look to you? And we encourage people to dream big, think outside the box, and really just share what that would look like. And so this is a really great way to reach out within your community. We have a lot of different people I saw here tonight from different parts of Wisconsin that we haven't seen yet. So that's awesome. And so if you, you know, are looking to grow kind of the numbers and get people interested and just like, you know, bring people aboard, this is a really great event for that. We really want to change the narrative and really change the perception that of, you know, what does it look like to have a lack of access to healthcare, and you know, how that affects people living in poverty and the poor and dispossessed. And so we have events already being planned in Milwaukee, Kenosha, Wausau, and Janesville. And if you want to help plan one of these, if you would like to plan one in your own community, or, you know, contribute to one that's already being planned, we will support you. So you're not alone in this. This is, I think, one of the best things that I love about the Poor People's Campaign is we are here to help, and you're not doing this alone, because you can't organize in your community without help. It's just, I mean, unless you're super like a superhero, and that's, I don't think I couldn't do it. So, but anyway, so this is a really great way to build community within that against a really great cause. So if you look in the chat, there will be a form, the get involved form that we have. And this is if you filled it out before, if you could just fill it out again, because this will be a new option on that form, specifically for this event. Or if you want to email wisconsin@poorpeoplescampaign.org, which I'm sure will also be in the chat, in case the form doesn't work for you, just to talk more about this event. If you have questions, anything like that. Sarah, it's spelled wrong in the chat, just so you know. Wisconsin is, just seeing it. But anyway, so yeah, so fill out that form. Let us know if you have questions, and we hope to see you there and really make a big a show for Wisconsin about this.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm just so excited to hear about that. And I'm really excited to hear about people who would like to get involved. But for tonight, with our time remaining, we would love to hear from two of our partners. So these are organizations that share our values. As Reverend Dr. Barber says, we don't have to be under the same banner to fight the same battle. So each group, I'm going to put on a timer for 3 minutes, and I'll put in the chat when you're kind of at 1 minute. But speakers, if you could just watch for that, that would be awesome, just so we can kind of end on time. But we are going to start with Citizens for a Clean Wausau, and we're going to hear a little bit from Tom. Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you. Thank you for having me tonight. And I'd like to thank Bruce for all he's doing in Wausau, and he's really moving the needle here and making a difference. So Citizens for a Clean Wausau was started in around 2018, and the group, it's mainly focused on targeting an area of the southwest side of Wausau and working on that so that industrial contamination can be fully identified and then remediated ultimately. And I'll just, you know, there's a lot of information on cleanwausau.com, which goes into nuances about our group, but I've heard a lot of very neat positive things tonight, so I'd like to tie it into that a bit. And so when I was just in the breakout session with Melody, she brought up the importance of the people, and I'm not a party man myself. I believe that the most significant and really worthwhile party is called the people. And what's happened on the southwest side of Wausau and now in other areas, there's a common theme and motif, and really it's not about left versus right or Republicans versus Democrats. It's about regular folks versus the corporate state. And there's always that imbalance in that power dynamic. And so what's happened since 2018 is a relatively small group has been working on trying to bring some justice and environmental justice to town. Now that involves not only 3M Company. In the neighborhood in which I live, right across the street, is the oldest operating 3M company in the entire world. It was started there in 1929. And tomorrow, Wausau will vote on an environmental justice resolution that may be the first in the state of Wisconsin at the municipal level. And part of the concern recently ultimately from the people
municipal sobre si esta fábrica, esta compañía se puede expandir en nuestra comunidad. Y hay mucha gente que,
as it comes of no surprise, I'm sure, is really leveraged research and information to disrupt and to be effective. I think we've had to find lacking financial resources, ways to make a difference. So please don't hesitate to reach out to our group. Thank you for the help you've already given. And in the spirit of the multilingual dynamic tonight, I'd say it's always a struggle of attrition, but my favorite Willie Colon song is Todo Tiene Su Final. And I think if we work together, it will come to an end that is positive. So thank you for having me.
If we work together, it will come to an end. I love that. Thank you so much, Tom. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. And I'm going to pass it to Peggy from Expo. Thank you for being here tonight, Peggy.
Thank you guys so much. I am Peggy West Schroeder. I'm with Expo, which is Ex-Incarcerated People Rising. We are an organization for and by directly impacted people. And when we say directly impacted, we mean justice impacted. So we refer to anyone who is formerly incarcerated or who has or is currently on supervision in the state of Wisconsin as directly impacted. And then indirectly impacted people are people who support people who are directly impacted. So we like to use people-centered language, and directly impacted is basically what we say. So Expo is a statewide organization. We have chapters in Racine, Kenosha. Carl Fields is our organizer in Racine and Kenosha. So if you're down that way, you probably know Carl. Yep, yay, Carl. Milwaukee. And in Milwaukee, we have Sylvester Jackson, who is our organizer. Then we have Ron Schrader, sorry, I'm a Schroeder, he's a Schrader. He organizes people that are on the registry. And then we also have Ramaya Whiteside, who has a big fan base. And Ramaya does what we call prison in reach. And he actually does relational voter program with people who are in prison. And it's, it's the first of its kind in the US. And Ramaya is just the right person for that if you know him. And then in Madison, we have our state, that's where our offices are. And we have our state director, Jerome Dillard. And we also have an organizer there, Aaron Hicks. We used to have a fellow named Eugene Chrysler, who now is working with Moses out of Madison. And then last we have up in Eau Claire, we have an organizer named Kelly Mahoney, and she works with Nikki Walsh, who is with the Free campaign, and Free is the women's version of Expo. And then we also have Kyle Brown, who is an organizer and a fellow up in Eau Claire. So currently we're working on 4 different campaigns. We've been doing a tremendous amount of work about COVID in the prisons and trying to get the governor to release people with the special exception of COVID. We have not been successful at all with that, but we have made a lot of gains that aren't being people being released. And so that's one of our big things still. The next thing is we have a campaign called Unlock the Vote. And so what we're trying to do is restore voting rights to people as they come out of prison versus making them wait until they're off supervision. Wisconsin is 3rd highest in the nation for the length of our supervision sentences. We have what we call excessive supervision, like it's too much, which leads to the next campaign, which is Locked Up on the Outside. So our Locked Up on the Outside campaign, we're actually in the process of having forums all across the state. And so we welcome you to host a forum or to have us out to have a conversation. We really want to make this campaign about our leaders and about their real life situations. So probation parole, I can come back another time and school you on probation and parole and all the injustices that there are there. I'm sure many of you have probably know someone who's on probation, parole, and know. We also have the third highest revocation rate in the United States. So once people are out of prison, we like to send them back to prison instead of helping them to deal with whatever situation put them there to start with. So we're launching that campaign. And then the last campaign that we're always working on is we're always working in different areas where they're trying to either build new prison or they're trying to expand a jail. So COVID has taught us that we really don't need to put people in jail unless they're truly a threat to society, which is a very, very small percentage. And so we really want for people to understand that programming, you know, there's whole bunches of different things that we can do that are so much better for people than prison. So that's what Expo does. I will put my email address in the chat and I would love for you guys to get involved. We're looking to build chapters in other places. Wausau, Tom, not to give you more than you need, but if you know directly impacted people, we'd love to have people in Wausau, the Fox Valley. We have a lot of interest up there. We just need someone to take the bull by the horns. So anywhere in the state that you have directly impacted people. And again, I talked with Sarah this afternoon, and I think there's a lot of synergy here, a lot of, you know, unfortunately, if you take a look at the prison population, it's Black, brown, and poor people. So we really look forward to doing a lot with you and being a part of your team and you being a part of our team. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Peggy, and thank you so much for the work that you're doing at Expo. And I'm really excited for the work that we'll be doing together with both you and Tom. And I want to say thank you so much, everyone, for coming out tonight. This is pretty much the conclusion of our meeting. Of course, we all have one more thing to do, and I know you guys know what that is. But before we do that, we did just want to say thank you for coming out tonight. We would love for y'all to stay involved, to reach out to us. If you want to reach out to us to have a one-on-one, if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts or anything like that, we would love to hear from you. I'm so energized and inspired and moved by this statewide meeting. And I do also want to thank all the leaders on the coordinating committee and others who have really helped put together this meeting. And thank you all so much for coming out. And as I said, we have one more thing to do, and that is, of course, we always end our meetings with a chant. And that chant basically goes, I will say forward together, and then you guys will say not one step back, and we'll do this 3 times. So forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
And of course, this is a bilingual meeting, so we are also going to do it in Spanish. And Sarah, just to double check, it's Juntos Plante. Awesome. And then what's the response? Sorry.
So everybody, I'm going to say it again. Lock it in your brain. It's ni un paso atrás.
Perfect. Juntos Plante.
Ni un paso atrás.
Juntos Plante.
Ni un paso atrás.
Juntos Plante.
Ni un paso atrás.
There we go. Thank you all so much for coming out tonight. I look forward to seeing you all next month at our next statewide meeting. Thank you. Have a